All right. Hello, everybody. This is Becky. Hello, I'm Becky. And we are going to crochet a basket. I don't know how big it will be, but not going to be very big because I'm going to use just the yarn that I have here in this basket that I made a while ago. And this one was made differently, so it's not the example that we're going to make. I should have brought the one I'm going to make in, but I did not. I showed it yesterday. So regardless of that, if you want to play along, I'm going to use what the yarns I have here, and I think they're all bulky or larger. And these were yarns that I've picked up thrifting. This one's a 5, but this one's a 6. Yeah, this is a 6, super bulky, which we can use them, and we could even put them together if we wanted to make a basket. You know, hold one strand of each one. Let me look and see what else I have in here. I want the yarns to be kind of the same feel. Like, I don't want to mix this like blanket type yarn with this yarn. It wouldn't feel very nice to the hand. Barbara, hi, how are you? We're going to do something together today. So I'm not going to use these two here that are really, they're baby blanket weight. I mean, I put some in a different basket, but for now I'm just going to set this blanket weight aside. Maybe when I get some more blanket weight, I'll do a basket with those. Hi, Sophia. And then this little bit was left over from the basket I made that I showed yesterday. And then I have some of this. So all of these would work fine together. And you can use even your little bits. Just use them as far as they'll go. Here's a gray. And then I have another gray. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to put that one and these two back in the basket not to use. And I'll go ahead and put the baby yarn back in there. And we're just going to ignore them. So I'm going to use this thrifted yarn here. So these 3 I'm going to use. All right. And I think what I'll start with is this one that I've already caked up, which means I should not have any problem finding the very beginning of this in the center of the cake. And excuse my nasty looking hands. They're dry and not doing well. So I'm going to pull from the center on that one. And let's see if we can find the center on this one. Hi, Ray. And Barbara's just making memory books. That's lovely to do. Let's see if I can find the center. I don't like working from the outside of a skein. So that's what that piece is. That's the outside. So the other side should come out the opposite end. Let's see if I can find it. Just finding the middle. There we go. All right. So I'm going to put that tail over there out of the way. You start these baskets the same way you start a hat. And I recently learned a trick with the magic ring that I kind of want to show you guys. I watched a girl do a magic ring, but she went around her fingers twice. And when you do that, so I'm going to put these in here, and I'm going to wrap around my finger, and then go around behind it and around behind it. So actually, I've gone over my finger 3 times. I'm using a 15 millimeter, which is a P cube hook. I'm going to go to the farthest one, the one closest to my knuckles, and I'm going to pull up a loop. And then I'll chain 1 to lock that in place. Uh-oh, that didn't go as planned. Try again. All right. So the first round, you're not going to worry about what you're going to do with all this yarn in the middle right now. We're going to crochet over the top of this 8 times, single, which is, I think, UK double, but it's a single US. So 1, 2. This is the fiddly part. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I want to keep that tail. 8. All right. And I need a stitch marker. All right. So I'm going to tighten this up. So you grab your 2 ends and just give it a gentle pull so you can see which one's drawing up first. All right. So if you pull that out, it'll draw up that more outer loop. And then once you've got this drawn up, then you pull this loop and bam, all of the loops are now inside the stitches. And when you do it this way, it locks it in place so this hole never opens back up. All right. Let me grab a stitch marker because that is imperative. And I probably should put a Band-Aid on my finger so I don't gross you guys out. So I'm just going to get, you can use stitch markers like this. You can use a safety pin, and you can even use just a bit of yarn and loop it over the first stitch. All right. So if I count back the 8 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I know this is the stitch I need to work into. So I'm going to insert my hook and just do a single crochet. I'm not going to do a slip stitch. We're working in a spiral on this one. So, okay, so I've made my first stitch. Before you do another stitch, mark that stitch right now. All right, so that's stitch 1. You're going to work 2 single crochets in each one around. Hi, Janet. All right, so that'll be the second one. And I am also capturing the tails as we go. There will be no sewing in later. So when you get done with this round, you'll have double the stitches. So you should have 16 stitches when you get back around. And the reason I decided to do this today is it's a rainy, gloomy day here. And I have a lemon pound cake in the oven because Scott's been really not too subtle about wanting a lemon pound cake since well before Christmas. So rainy day, it's a good day for a lemon pound cake. So we'll have that with a cup of coffee after a while. And I also need to cook regular food too, but we'll get around to that after we make a basket together. And I am putting 2 single crochets in each one around. All right. Uh-oh, I lost one. Okay, I think I've got 2 more to do. But if you get over here and you're not real sure, count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I need 16. So I know I've got to do 2 more into this one. Okay. And now you can see all of the tails are hidden inside other round. See, might be a little bit peeking out there, but you can always trim that later. So I know I'm back at the first stitch here. All right, the next round, you'll put 2 here, 1 there, 2, and 1, and 2. So by the time you get done, you'll have 1.5 times of what you just finished. So we have 16, 16 and 8 is 24. So when we get around this next time, we should have 24 single crochets. All right, so I'm going to pull this out. Hi, Laura. I'm going to pull that out, and then I'll make my first stitch. So there's 1. Stop right now. Put your marker in that stitch, so you know where to stop. Because when you're working in a spiral, it's real easy to lose track. And I've lost one of my threads. Let me pull that up. That's just something you have to be aware of, because when you're holding 2 together, sometimes you'll drop one. So remember, we want to put 2 in that same stitch. And then in the next stitch, you only put 1. And then you put 2 and then 1. And you do that around. Is everybody getting a gloomy day today? And then 2 in the next one. Whoop, and see, I dropped my thread. And you can also pull it back out, get back to where you can get a hold of them. And see, I dropped that darker gray thread. It's really easy to drop. I got it back. And then 1. And then 2 in this one. I might have enough of just these 2 colors to make a whole basket and not even use the darker color. Or we could use the darker color as a trim at the top. I hope you guys can see me. Yes, gloomy and getting ready for the snow coming. John's hitching the plow to the tractor. Sounds like a good idea. We might actually get some snow this time too. We got a little sleet and ice last time. Remember when my workers had to leave because the owner of the company didn't want them on the roads. And then nothing happened. But, we have to take it serious because our highway department's in the South. We're not used to dealing with that. And yeah, it doesn't work out. All right, so this is another hint. When you're working your pattern around, you'll always continue the pattern. So we're in the last 2. So we'll do 2 in this one and 1 in this one. Oh, 2, I'm still on the 2. And so when you do 1 in this last one, you're back to where you did 2 at the beginning. And so you'll know your count is right. Again, if you are one that likes to verify your counts, you should have 24 stitches around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right. Once you get used to doing this, you won't need to know the count. You'll just need to know if you end up over here and you're not still moving into a position where it looks like you're repeating that pattern again, you'll know you've messed up somewhere and you'll have to go back and see where you missed doing 2 and then 1. The pattern always continues in a spiral. All right, so now I'm going to pull this out and just set it down. I'm going to go ahead and do my first stitch in here. Now this round, and I'm going to mark that first stitch before I forget. You'll do 2 in the first one. All right. And then you're going to do 2 with just 1 in it. So it's 2, 1, 1. That's how I think about it. 2, 1, 1. And now we'll do 2 in this one. I will count the stitches. So for anybody that needs that count, I'll let you know. I just don't feel like doing the math in my head right now. As long as I continue my pattern, I should be fine when I get around there. But I know some people really like knowing the stitch count. So we'll do a count when we get around there. And I've lost that. That darker gray does not want to stay connected with his friend. They don't want to hold hands here. So I keep dropping it. That's something you just catch on to quick, because if you drop it, then you're going to end up working a section with just one, and the other will just lay on your finger moving, but it won't be getting added. So I don't know what size basket you guys want. We can make them. You can make your basket any size. So like if you wanted one that's just this big around, you could just start not, going any farther with the increases. I think it was mentioned they'd like it to be cat-sized yesterday. So a cat-sized basket. So 10 to 12 inches. Hi, Carol. Carol, I was going to mention to you while you're here, there is another Carol that's doing some stitching that you might want to check out. If I can remember, I'll put a link to her channel and send it to you. But she's doing a tiny, tiny little book on her channel, getting people to use their scraps. But I thought it'd be a neat way to record the stitches as we learn them. I'll get with you. So we're back to 2 here. Remember, this is a 2 and then 1 and 1. And see, now I dropped the other one. It's very obvious when you've dropped one of your strands. It'll become all too easy to get your hook in and around. So there's another single on his own, and then we put 2 together. And I've dropped that dark gray. That dark gray does not want to play well. And if you forget, just look back, and where you've got 2, it's very obvious because it's fat and chunky. So there's the 2, 1, 1. So I know I got to do 2 here. I'm trying to show you how you can identify where you're at if you get lost. Because I didn't have anybody teach me that. I had to learn that all on my own because I'm self-taught crocheter. My mother tried to teach me to crochet once, but she's so hung up on doing it a particular way. And, when I'm trying to teach somebody something, I know that their muscle memory is different than mine. They've done different activities all their lives, and you have to learn your own muscle memory. Like how I hold the yarn, I just flip it over my finger, and then I just kind of hold it with my pinky. And then when I get up here, sometimes I just lay it against the back of the material. I don't hold it. And then there's always that where people wrap it in and out your fingers. I can't stand that because I feel like it holds it too tight. And you can see that's all I'm doing is I've got it under my pinky. All right, so we're just did 2. So there's a single. And there's a single, and guess what? We're back at the beginning where we have 2. So if we wanted to keep going with that pattern and we didn't have a stop here, it would be really easy to get lost. But also that tells you you've made it around in the right pattern and you're fine. So let's count them so you can jot down the number of stitches you need at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So that round you need 32. And you can see we are at, I wish I had a ruler here. Hang on. This is already about 6 inches across. So I'm thinking maybe 3 more rows. So I'm going to pull out my marker and never let it go too far because you're going to put it right back in. So this row we'll do 1. Put your marker back in right now. Don't do a couple stitches. Do it right away. All right. So this time we're going to put 2 in the first one. And then you're going to do 3 single crochets in the next 3. Yeah, 1, 1, 1. So it'd be 2, 1, 1, 1. And if you think about it that way, it's easy to remember. So you're going to do 2 by themselves together, 2 together, and then 3 by themselves, really. And then you do 2 and then 3. Okay. You're making your breakfast. We had cheese toast for breakfast, and we had some pork fat that we bought to season the collards at New Year's. And so I just cooked it up for Scott real slow, what we had left over, just to get it out of the fridge before it went rancid. And he put that in a piece of bread and was in hog heaven, so to speak. So I know I was asked to do this to show how to do the handles. So we're going to put some handles on this basket in a little bit. Oh, I've lost one again. He's hiding in there. I can see him. All right. I have to go check that. And so I'll be right back. That'll give you a chance to catch up with me if you're crocheting along. Woo, it's looking good. Looking good. It needs a little bit longer. Little bit longer. I'm going to put it 5 minutes. If you can do up to another 15 on it, but I don't want to burn it. It smells good. Scott's giving it the sniffer test. Carol's having sausage, eggs, and hash browns at her house. All right, let's see if I can get you guys. I don't know if it's Jimmy Dean sausage. All right, so I did 1, 2, 3. I need to do 2 here. If you are getting Jimmy Dean sausage, Scott says the sage flavored is the best. Just saying. And it's very hard for us to find it these days, so I don't know what's going on there. I know. I told them I cooked up some pork fat for you. That's all pork rinds are, you guys. It's some fat cooked up. Scott loves pork rinds. Okay. 2, 1, 2, 3. When you use a really big hook like this and the chunky yarn, it really doesn't take long to build up a good sized basket. I know that Mary Lou, Auntie Loopy, made a basket holding 6 strands. I think it was 6 strands of just regular 4-ply yarn together. And she made a huge basket for yarn storage. And it was beautiful. So I'm in patterns for 1, 2, 3, and I'm back to the beginning where we did 2. So the pattern continues around. All right. Do y'all want the count? I can do the count real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So that was 40 stitches around. And we are probably at about, what are we at? 8 inches. Can you click this light on behind me? Because the overlight is giving me too much light. So if I hit some light off the fireplace. Click. Let's see where we pointed. Click. Looks pretty good. All right. So it's looking like we're gaining about 2 inches every time we go around. So if we want the basket to be about 10 inches, I'm going to go around one more time. So this round, if you'll notice, the pattern continues. So in the center, we did 8. On the next round, we did 2 stitches in each of the 8 to give us 16. And then we added a single in between our increased stitches on the next row. And then we did 2. And now we did 3. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to do 2 and then 4. So 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, 1. So again, I'm going to pull this out, do my first stitch, and put my marker right back in before I go any farther. It's real easy to pull that out and then just get going and forget to put your marker in, and then you're messed up because you don't know where you started at. So there's 2 in this one. And then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. That was good. Sounded like something fell over in the other room. It's not going any farther, love. It's okay. There's 2 there, so 4. Oh, I should have done this when the cake was done. 2, 3, and 4. I got to go check my cake. I'm going to move you guys over a little bit. And it's looking kind of wobbly, but that'll smooth out as we go. Looks like the fat went well. The pork fat. Come on, latch. Let's see. If I put a toothpick in it, is it done? Yes, yes, it is done. Cancel. It may have gone slightly too long, but you'll be all right. We'll turn that fan off. That'll be quieter for us too. All right, cake's out of the oven, so I can just continue now. We might run out of the dark gray before we get done, but we've got that black we can switch to. So we did 2, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 2, 1, 2. Let's see here. Hi, Gail. I'm going to do 4 here. 4. Two, 3, 4. One, 2, we're almost back to the beginning. There's 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Four, and then 1, 2. Two, and you can tell I'm still in pattern 3, 4, and we're back to the first stitch where we did 2. All right, and I think it's not quite cat size, but if you wanted to go around one more time, you'd do 2 and then 5 single crochets, and then 2 and then 5, and that's how you increase. So you would increase with the 2, 5, and then the next row, if you wanted to go even bigger, it'd be 2 and then 6, 2 and then 7, depending on how huge of a basket you want to make. I think this will be a good size for us. I'm looking at what I've got in this gray that's down here on the floor that I'm wiggling with my toe, and I'm thinking I'm going to switch to this gray because we're going to start on the sides now. So Tippy, you're getting in trouble. Tippy doesn't like it when I'm talking to you guys. Let me see if I can get this without there being too much yarn barf. I think it needs to come out the other side. Yep, there it is. All right. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm not going to tie this. All right. We're not tying these together to create some huge knot or anything. I want to keep the multicolored yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that loop right there, okay? I'm going to stick my hook back in through because you need to join your new color in the last part of this stitch for the new color system to be at the top of the first stitch. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull this loop back out of the variegated, and I'm going to leave the gray there alone, and then I'm going to lay this back here, the new color, just lay a tail, and I'm just going to combine that with the other, and I'm going to draw a loop up to finish off our last stitch here. All right, so now I've got my new colors together here. So the dark, and I want to keep this tail because I'm going to work over this, but then I'm going to pull this loop from the gray here. This looks crazy, but this works. And I'm going to cut this free and drop that. We're done with that. I'm going to bring the two tails together of the new yarn and the old yarn, and I'm going to take my stitch marker out here, And I'm going to, oh, that needs to be below those threads. All right. And we're going to catch our tail into this stitch. So here's the two tails. Here's the two colors I want. And I'm going to do a single crochet. And I'm going to mark that first stitch. Just like that. And now I'm just going to crochet over those tails and they will be locked in place. And I don't have anything to sew in. I don't have a big bulky knot. And we're just going to do straight single crochets now, all the way around. And because we're not increasing, this will start to turn and make sides of your basket. This gets easier once you're done hiding the tails inside the stitch. So to hide them, you just lay those on top and you go in like you normally would, but keep those on the top. And then you work your stitch over that. And I do pull up a bunch of thread when I'm doing two, so they're working evenly. One more, and those should be hidden. And I haven't had anything work out doing it that way. And it's so much easier than trying to tie a knot or leave tails to sew in later. And even if they do work out later, you can always sew them back in. All right, so now I just need to, each time I come around, move that marker as I go so I always know where to stop. So we need to do several rows like this so that you guys can see the sides. And then we'll see where we are as far as the quantity of yarn. I have a question as a non-American. Is pound cake the same as what we would call a Victorian sponge? It's a heavier cake, Gail says. Yeah, it's really, see, I don't know what a Victorian sponge is supposed to be. It's not really, it's not spongy. When I think of sponge cake, I think of what we'd make a jelly roll out of. Because that you make a sponge cake and then you roll it up with powdered sugar in a towel and let it rest a minute. Then you unroll it and then you spread it with like raspberry jam and then you gently roll it up. I haven't made one of those since I left New York a minute ago, because that was 1982. I used to do a lot of baking and stuff on the farm. So there's always a bunch of guys around that needed, extra energy. If you are a looser crocheter and not as tight as I am, your basket will look a little looser. Because I am trying to teach this as I go. I'm finding that I'm getting a little tense, so I need to chill so my basket will lay flat. If you want a definite turning, you can work in just the front loops of these and you'll end up with like this like ridge of the back loop on the outside of your basket. You can do that if you want to. And then the next round, just start doing them in both loops again. That gives you an idea of, where you did. But because we changed color, I am not going to, Tippy, stop it. He does not like me talking to you. I'm not going to worry about having the ridge this time because of the change of color. Now he's coming to be naughty over here. You behave. Don't push on that. Talking to my peeps, Tippy. Oh, he's going to shove it around. You are being very naughty. Oh, I didn't give you a count, but if you want to know, each time you go around and you're doing your increases, you're adding 8 stitches. So whatever stitches you started with, so here we had 8, 8 and 8 is 16, 16 and 8 is 24, and so on. So that's another way to remember, how many stitches you should have at the end of each row. So like if you started with 10 in the middle, you'd be adding 10 each time you did an increase round. Oh, Scott's phone has been ringing with one junk call after another. Thankful I don't get a bunch of junk numbers. All right, let's see. What do we got going on here? Let's pick this up because it seems to be. And I've got some twisting in the yarn, but that's okay. All right. So I'm back around, and you still need to keep your stitch marker so that you know where you are. I'm going to hold that out. I posted the recipe for the pound cake on Instagram and Facebook if anybody's interested in it. On the recipe, it says slice thin and serve plain. But all I keep thinking is how good some cut up strawberries would be on top of it. If I had some frozen strawberries, I would do that. Just let them thaw some. I don't sweeten the strawberries anymore because I figure the cake's a big no-no as it is. But we could let them thaw a little bit and smush them with a potato masher and then pour that over the cake. That would be yummy. All right, I need to get rid of this where it's coiling. So I need to pull some down. It's wrapping on itself, and I don't want that. I want them to be smooth. Now, if you want to make a basket kind of like I had made, I did do some decreases to get my basket to go back in, but I only decreased half of what you would normally increase to get it, and I only did it on one round. So we might do that on the next round. And I'll show you what I did to do that. Because the edge will start to turn up, but if you want it to turn up a little bit quicker, you can do some decreased stitches. Oh, I'm sweating. I got to lose my sweater. My sweater's making me sweat. Whew. And what's really funny about the whole cake thing, the whole Scott kind of hinting about it since before Christmas, he's not a cake eater at all. Because for years, his mother did wedding cakes, and she would do cake squares and things like that for like bridal showers. And she would bring home leftovers, and Scott got sick of cake when he was little or as a teenager. All right, give me a second. We're almost around. This is quite tiring to do. Oh, wait. Becky's getting ahead of herself here. My brain is thinking about how to do the decreases. And believe it or not, my cats will make themselves lay in this small of a circle. Honest to goodness. I will have to look up Victorian sponge and see what the differences are in the recipe. Let me see if I can remember, because I just made it. So let's see. You use a cup of butter, and I think a cup of sugar, a tablespoon of lemon juice, 4 eggs, and then 2 cups of soft as silk cake flour and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I think that's everything that was in it. All right. So I'm back around. And remember, you're working just straight single crochets around now. But I want to work some decreases. So I'm going to do a decrease over the first 2. Then I'm going to single crochet in 8. Then I'll do a decrease, single crochet in 8, do a decrease. I'll do the decrease 4 times. So there'll be like 1 here, 1 there, 1 over here, and 1 on this opposite side over here. And when I do a decrease, this is something else I recently learned. I'm gonna choose either the front loop or the back loop. And for this basket, I'm gonna work only in the back loops because I want this to be on the outside. But I'm going to go into the back of that one and I'm going to draw up a loop, and then I'm going to go into the back of this one and draw up a loop, and then I'll pull through all 3. And then I'm going to mark that as my first stitch. All right. Then I'm going to do 8 on their own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's see here. Let's just see if that's, no, it needs to be more than that. I'm going to do the one together. I'm going to do 10 stitches in between the decreases. So 8, 9, 10. And this is how my brain works. This is how I figure these out. So you do a decrease, then work 10 stitches. Then I'm going to work in the back loop, and I'm going to draw up a loop, back loop in the next one, and draw up a loop. And then I'm going to pull through all 3, and then I'll do 10 again. 1, and that looks like this on the outside. So the decreases aren't as bumpy as if you went through the both loops on both stitches. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, see, I could have done the math and had an exact count. Mary Lou, there you go. There's our big basket maker there. Mary Lou, how many strands of the 4-ply did you hold together to make those great big baskets? So now I'm going to do the 2 together, and I go in the back loop, draw up a loop, go in the back loop of the next one, draw up a loop, and then pull through all 3, and then I'm going to do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can see that brings up the sides. All right, I'm going to do a decrease here. I'm going to work in that back loop, draw up a loop, go in the next stitch in the back loop, draw up a loop, and then draw through all 3, and then back through both loops on the next one. And do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and how about that? 9. My math in my head, 10. The pattern continued around. All right, what do we got? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go back to just doing a single crochet around because I just decreased it, so now it'll come in a little bit. I'm going to pull out the marker. What's the beauty thing is you got a place to set it now in your basket. Do your first stitch, mark it right now. Don't wait. Because as soon as you get a couple stitches down the road, all the stitches start looking the same. She used 7, she thinks. It's a beautiful basket. You should post a picture, Mary Lou. You could put it in my group if you're in my group, or on Instagram, wherever you share your pictures. Or you could send me a picture and I'll post it in my group, whichever. And I am using thrifted yarn. Let's see, I paid $2.95 for that one, $1.95 for that one. So I've got what, $5 in this basket plus my time, and we've been on here for almost an hour. So if I wasn't yammering, dealing with the cake, talking to the kid and the husband and all, I could probably make one of these in less than an hour. But, you know, life and all. And I think this will be almost the perfect cat size. Now you could maybe use, if you got a bigger hook, which I have an even bigger hook somewhere, you could use 3 strands of this bulky, and you could crochet up a dog bed. It would take some time because you'd have to make it big enough for whatever size dog you have. I know some folks that have just little chihuahuas, so this would be perfect for a little chihuahua. Let's see. We'll see how far we get. My thumb is starting to get sore. Maneuvering the big chunky yarns is tiring to your hands. I still have to put straps on it. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to add some handles to this basket as we go along, but I want it to have some depth. So I just have to go round and round and round with single crochet. Of course, once you get going on your sides, we could do a round double crochet and make it go faster. That's entirely up to you. Do y'all want to do a row of double crochet just to see what it looks like, or you want me to just keep working the basket like I made my basket so you can see how to do that? This basket's actually bigger than the basket I made for my thread crochet that I want to keep with me. And you can see it's turning into something. I probably should have used the darker, almost black charcoal-y color on the bottom of the basket. Wasn't thinking about that. And we're back to the beginning. I like the idea of leather straps. All right, we're back at the beginning. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to do my first stitch and then put it right back on there. And then we'll go again. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to take a minute and stretch my hands because they're really hurting. And I'm just pushing them together. Barbara Clark showed me how to do them. Gail, did you just send me a friend request? Okay, I'll click it through here in just a minute. That knuckle is just a piece of work. I bought rubber gloves for when I start washing the walls because I want to get that fine red dust off the walls. Yeah, so I don't get any more deep splits like that. It looks worse than it really is. I don't know what possessed us, but we went to Costco last night, right in 5 o'clock traffic. Of course, we took the back way so that we didn't get on I-26, I-126 here in Columbia because it's a really crazy place at 5 o'clock. But we went for Costco's chicken chunks. Oops, sorry, rocking y'all's world here. Scott had seen an article about their chicken chunks. They're not pressed like chicken nuggets. They're like chunks of meat. And he wanted to get some. He's got a recipe he wants to try too. So we went for chicken chunks and then we ended up, oops, hang on. I got you guys all discombobulated. What did I do with the camera? Like it fell. There we go. Come on now. I think my tripod is trying to quit. But what else did we get? We got salsa, which is too smoky flavored for Greg's liking. So Mom will end up having that for a snack for weeks or months. We got the bacon because their brand of bacon you can get really cheap. Scott loves his bacon. I don't eat much for breakfast anymore like I used to. And we got some other things. But can I remember what they were right now? Nope. Oh, loaves of bread. And we should have got a tower of tissues because, you know, at Costco, everything comes in mass quantities. And I think we are out of Kleenex. So it would have been a good thing to pick up while we were all the way over there. We bought 6 items. That's unheard of. You go to Costco and you bought just 6 items. What are you, nuts? But I didn't really feel like spending a couple $100. What we bought was like $70. Of course, it'll last us weeks and weeks because it's by volume. Scott looked at some kind of cereal stuff, but it had so many carbs and it was so expensive. So that got left there. I know we bought some other things. Orange juice. Got some orange juice because we hadn't been feeling good. So we are going to have a little orange juice with our breakfast this week. Get some added vitamin C in. Oh, it's coming up. There we go. I want to go around several more times before I add the handles because I'd like this to hold a good bit. Let's see here. Yeah, this is looking good. All right, back at the beginning. And again, I'm going to take this pin out and do the stitch and then put the pin right back in, or whatever you call these markers. And I've noticed if you try to spread these too far, they split and break really easy. But I love these little crocheted baskets because you can put things that roll around like spools of thread or, you know, balls of yarn. You know, if you built this up and it was high enough that you could put like several balls of yarn inside and then brought your sides in a bit so the balls didn't flip out, you could use this as a crocheting tool. We'll see how far we get. I'm tickled to be using some thrifted yarn too. This might be a basket that I make to hold things I make, like dishcloths or that kind of thing. That could be a fun thing to do. Make dishcloths and attach a number to them and then give Scott a secret number, and whoever gets the special number that he's carrying in his pocket on their dishcloth wins the basket. That could be fun to do. Might have to think about that for next year, next Christmas. Oh, Sophia had to go. Okay. She's got to start her cooking. It is that time of day. It's noon here. I should probably be cooking too. There's always the replay. You can come back and watch how I add the handles. Uh-oh. You know what? There it is. Okay. I thought I had dropped the dark color again. All right, we're almost back to the beginning. You want your handles to be the row before the end so that, you can get a hold of them. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking what I have of yarn left. I can probably go around again before we do the handles. So again, pull that out, do your first stitch, and then put it right back into the top of the next stitch here, into that stitch, so you know where to stop. All right. I could have made a smaller basket. Oh well. These hooks can be found on Amazon. That's where they came from. I have an S and a T hook too that's even bigger than this. And when I worked at Michael's and these huge hooks started coming in and we were all laughing, it's like, what are you going to make with that? Well, now I know. Baskets, big blankets. Get that honking yarn that's like 2 inches across. You crochet a blanket up, although what they don't warn you about is it's very tiring to your hands to do big bunches of yarn in your hands. I really like the one that Mary Lou made, and I've got a ton of 4-ply. And I think Heather was asking about that, Mary Lou, the other day, and I told her I thought you had 6, but it may have been 7, you say. So now see, if I leave this laying, anything I crochet, if I lay it aside, Howard thinks it's his. He's like, oh, that's mine. And what's really funny is he's the biggest cat in the house, and he always wants to shove himself into the smallest basket he can find. Callie says she fits the best in the small baskets because she can really roll herself up tight down inside. All right, now. I'm trying to get that squirrely bit out of there. I don't want it really twisted around and around. I want it to kind of lay next to each other. All right. We're back at the beginning again. So this round, we are going to add our handles. All right. I'm going to mark where I want the handles to go. Hope I have enough to finish this basket. All right. So that's where we are right there. We're back at the beginning. I'm drawing this loop up because I don't want to lose my place. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 different markers, different colors. Oh, there's a button on the floor. Let's see. Do I have 2 of any? All right. So the red will be my stop round. And then I've got a blue and a blue-green here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the centers. Yeah, these turned out good. And I'm just going to, this is where my beginning is. If I fold the basket so like it's in half, so it looks like a mouth, I'm going to match these up and we'll put this one here. We'll put this one here. And that's where I want the centers of my handles to be. All right. So now we're gonna start working here. Draw this back down. All right. Again, I'm gonna just move my marker out, do my first stitch, and put my marker back in. All right. Put that back in. All right. So now I'm going to stitch so that I'm going to skip 5 stitches here with this one being the center. So that'll be there, and then I'll have 2 this way and 2 this way that I'm not going to work. So I need to stop right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got that's knotted up or something. Hang on. This is not co-op. Oh, it's the clearance sticker. Messing me up, clearance sticker. Not clearance sticker, but Goodwill sticker. I was like, why is this acting so weird? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now I need to do make sure there's going to be 1, 2. This is the center of the 5, 3, 4, 5. So go ahead and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got to get rid of all this tangled mess. And 6. Try not to twist it too. 6. And then you're going to skip those 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll crochet into this one, single crochet. And you've created your first handle. And then we're just going to single crochet around until this marker's in the middle of a group of 5 that you're not going to work. Thirteen, 14, 15, 16. One more. 17. Because you want to skip 2 before and 2 after this marker. So now again, we're going to crochet a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's skip the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll crochet in here. All right. You can see cat hair in it. May contain cat hair comes from my house. All right. So now we're going to go around one more time and we'll work a single crochet into each of these 6 chains. And we'll get back over here. Our basket will be done. If you don't want to do single crochet around, you could do pick a back loop only, or you could do a snail's trail and do your stitches backwards around, doing a reverse single crochet. But I wanted to keep this basket simple for you guys, for anybody that's new to it. And maybe we'll make another basket another day, and I'll show you how to do different stitches up your side. We could do that, and show you how to do that snail's trail or reverse single crochet. I have a short on my channel on how to do that. All right, there's that. So now I'm going to start working in these chains, and they're laying flat across, and I'm just going to insert into the chain and do a single crochet. Three. Uh-oh, came out. Let's try that again. Five. And there's 6. And then you just start working into the single crochets here. Hey, y'all. That That sounded very half-hearted. Hey, y'all. You use 7 strands. Okay. That's good to know that you can use 7 strands. Did you use a great big honking hook like this too, Mary Lou, or did you use like an L or an N? Or yeah, because this is a PQ 15 millimeter. As much trouble as I've had keeping 2 together, I don't know if I'm up for doing 7 threads together. Of course, they'd be 4-ply, not chunky 5 here. Of course, one of these is a 5 and one's a 6. So that might be why I'm dropping the 5s, because the 6 is being too bossy. And that's how you add handles. You just do a chain and then you skip 1 or 2 stitches. You make it 1 or 2 bigger than the number of stitches you want to skip. So I skipped 5 on my basket. I think I skipped only 4 stitches and did 5, but on this one, because I'm skipping 5 stitches on the actual basket body, I did 6 chains. So whatever the chain length is to fit your hand the best, just make it 1 or 2 stitches longer than the area you're skipping. So I skipped 5, so I did 6. Could have done 7 and had a handle that stood up higher. You'll see when we get done here, which we are almost there. Trying to look, see how much, I don't know if I can get back around again. I was thinking maybe I can do a snail's trail on the top of this as the second round here. It's pretty chunky yarn though, and I don't want to make the handle too chunky. We'll look at it when we get over here. So we have been on 1 hour and about 20 minutes and we've made a basket. And that'll be the last stitch on there. Yeah, see, and now you've got a little handle that you could carry it, and it opens up fairly big. I could probably do a snail's trail, but I think I'm going to leave it because this handle's pretty dense already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my markers out, and I'm going to snip my thread. I'm leaving some longer tails, and I'm just going to pull this up and out through there. And then I'm going to see if I've got a needle that'll hold both of these. Let's see. I don't have my big yarn needle here. Let's see, can I get these both through there? That ought to be tricky. Oh, look, I did it. All right, so now this is coming out of this one. So if you take and you go in your first stitch and go under that loop, is that right? Yeah, go under the loops. And I am catching some of the fibers because I want it to lock in. And if you sew through the threads, and see when you do that, you go under the loops of the first stitch on that previous row, then come back through and go down through. It just looks like it's continuously crocheted. All right. So then I'm going to come back to the inside through some of these. All right. And we're going to hide this. And I do like Mikey says, really dig into that yarn. So you're going through the fibers. It's tricky. And then work your yarn through. And that way, those fibers won't back out of each other. I think Scott's fixing some of his chicken chunks. go. And then we'll come down to the next row and maybe go through some of these stitches. It's coming. Maybe. There we go. Now I'll cut that flush. That's done. I'll take these markers out. And these are floppy baskets. You're painting your kitchen today. We didn't go pick up our paint yet for this area. Scott's got a little bit more sheetrock work to figure. But there you go. There's your project basket or whatever you want to use it for. And I do like doing the bottom with a different color scheme than sides, but you can use your scraps and just use a scrap for as long as you have it. You know, when it starts to run out, put a different color in and you'll just use your scraps up in no time. All right. Any questions now that I'm looking at the screen and not concentrating on how sore my hands are getting? What color are you painting it, Joyce? I'm going to do a retreat green in here and in the kitchen. Scott says he prefers the smoked tan. Light green. Mine's a dark green. Darkness. So there you go. That'll be pretty. So I want to thank you guys for being here. And thanks for the thumbs up. And I'm going to go and get my day progressing a little further.
Well, you're welcome.
Scott, he's a hoot. All right. So I hope if somebody makes a basket, post it on Instagram and tag me, Becky Carr Macaulay. Then I'll see it. All right. See you later, alligators. Oh, Mary Lou.